Didn't do this stuff. This is not me, y'all. I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this.
Ike Turner struck Tina on a regular basis for 16 years. With everything from shoes to coat hangers, once putting a burning cigarette to her lips.
Okay, I can stop you. I know where you're going.
Phone police comes up, and the first thing the man did, he hit the window. You see the glass here? Hit the window like a...
Career, fame, just 1 second of a mistake, and it can all vanish. That's the harsh reality in the R&B world, where stars who once shone brightly can suddenly plummet into the abyss. There are dark moments, a single bad decision, an impulsive, uncontrolled action, enough to shatter their entire lives. This isn't a movie plot, it's the brutal truth in the lives of 21 Black R&B singers, people who destroyed their own careers in mere seconds. From violent scandals to romantic troubles, from addiction to jail time, just one misstep caused their paths forward to crumble beyond repair. You might find it hard to believe, but this is the truth, the grim shadow behind the glitz and glamour. 21st, Hank Ballard. The legend who birthed the twist crashed in disgrace due to drugs, abandoned by the world. Hank Ballard was once seen as the rebel soul of American R&B. As the leader of Hank Ballard and the Midnighters, he shook up every chart with the hit Work With Me, Annie in 1954, a song banned in many places for being too bold but wildly loved by teens. Not stopping there, Ballard wrote and performed the original The Twist, a track that later exploded globally through Chubby Checker's voice. The 50s were Ballard's playground. He wasn't just a musician and singer, he shaped an entire cultural era. But all that pride was swept away by what seemed like a harmless car check. By the late 1960s, Ballard's spotlight was already dimming. Music changed, public taste changed, and Hank was no longer the youth's top pick. He started sinking into endless party nights in Detroit and New York. Any club with a reputation, strong liquor, and drugs had him there. Heroin became his best friend. Marijuana was his pastime. Recording schedules got delayed over and over. The Midnighters grew tired and frustrated. Complaints, cracks, and tensions simmered for a long time. Not just music, copyright issues drove him crazy too. The Twist, once his brainchild, was taken to glory by Chubby Checker. So while Chubby was celebrated, invited on TV, and toured the world, Hank Ballard was left behind, a mere shadow. That set him off. He felt betrayed, robbed of credit, and kicked down just as he tried to stay balanced. Then the nightmare hit. One gloomy morning in early 1970, at a Detroit street corner, police stopped Ballard's car for a routine check. But when they opened the door, they found heroin, marijuana, and drug paraphernalia scattered around. No way to deny it. Hank was handcuffed on the spot, taken to the station, and detained. Within hours, the news spread across papers. Jet Magazine, Billboard, all blared, "Hank Ballard, once a star, fallen in drug scandal." The industry turned its back instantly. King Records, already struggling after founder Sid Nathan's death, cut his contract cold. Reason? Unreliable, no commercial value, too scandalous. Shows got canceled in droves. Promoters erased his name from posters. The band broke up. Those once loyal to him slipped away quietly. No one dared stand by an addict tied to drugs and a criminal image. And so, from the peak, Hank Ballard plunged to the depths. No one called his name on the radio anymore, no contracts, no big stages. All he had left were rundown clubs, a few aging fans, and faint claps. Finances dried up, career gone. His old hits still played somewhere, but no one remembered their creator. When he died in 2003, in poverty, there was no grand funeral, no loud tributes. People no longer spoke of him with respect, just a few small lines in the news. Hank Ballard, artist of a time and then gone, like he never existed. 20. Ike Turner. From rock and roll king to abuser, shunned by the world, Ike Turner was one of the most talented monsters in American music history. Credited with birthing rock and roll with Rocket 88, he also created one of the 60s most electrifying acts, the Ike and Tina Turner Revue. With fierce guitar riffs and unmatched showmanship, he earned respect from peers, holding fame, money, and a dazzling wife in his hands. But it all collapsed, not because times changed, but because of the cruel truth behind the stage lights. By the late 60s, Ike was no longer just an artist, but a cocaine addict, drunk on booze and control. He turned Tina Turner into a shadow, a possession. Backstage was a hell. Tina was beaten, forced to perform sick, threatened with guns, controlled mentally and physically. But back then, society mostly ignored domestic violence. Tina endured to keep the stage, the shows, the sliver of freedom left. Until one night in July 1976, at the Dallas Statler Hilton, after Ike beat her bloody, Tina fled. She left the hotel with a swollen face, bleeding, with just 36 cents in her pocket. No one imagined that would spark the most catastrophic fall in modern music history. In 1981, Tina Turner laid it all bare in a People interview. Her story stunned America. Ike was no longer an artist, but a symbol of violence, control, and cruelty. Rolling Stone called him the abuser. Radio stations banned his music, labels dropped him, fans boycotted without mercy. Everything crumbled. Ike landed in legal trouble over drugs. Alone. Broke. No one mentioned him without wincing. Career in dust. Fame erased. It all ended after one interview. When he died in 2007, he was still remembered as a villain. 19. James Brown, Soul King and the shocking gun chase across America. James Brown was adored worldwide. He not only pioneered soul, but became a Black Pride icon with timeless hits like Papa's Got a Brand New Bag and Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud. But that glow faded after a long slide. By the late 1980s, James Brown, past his peak, lived in a chaos of drugs, hallucinations, and uncontrollable rage. He was heavily addicted to PCP, called angel dust, but turning people to demons. Thousands of dollars a week vanished into drugs. Marital tension with Adrienne Rodriguez fueled the fire. They fought constantly. Once she called cops after he hit her at home. On the morning of September 24, 1988, he snapped, furious that someone used a bathroom in an office near his home. Paranoid and high, Brown stormed an insurance seminar with a gun, threatening people to stay off his turf. When police arrived, he jumped in his truck and led a wild high-speed chase across 2 states. Tires shot out, the truck swerved, then stopped dead. James Brown was dragged out, cuffed amid flashing lights and chaotic shouts. The press pounced like wolves. They called him the out-of-control legend. Media across America bombarded with news. Fans split, some shocked and cut ties, others couldn't believe it. Brown got 6 years in prison, served 2. From then, his glory never returned. Music shunned him. Stations stopped playing, shows canceled en masse. James Brown, once untouchable, became a public risk. That moment sent his career straight to the abyss. No way back. 18. Jackie Wilson. Mr. Excitement collapses on stage. Career ends in utter tragedy. Jackie Wilson was R&B's living flame. Dubbed Mr. Excitement, this man turned every stage into a storm. With Reet Petite and Lonely Teardrops, he didn't just make fans scream. He paved the way for black artists in mainstream music. A voice that hit every nerve, wild dance moves. Jackie was an explosion. But that shine couldn't save him from a life swallowed by booze, smokes, lust, and exhaustion. On September 25, 1975, at the Latin Casino in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, over 2,000 came to see a living legend. Jackie stepped out as usual, but his body couldn't hold up. For years, he drank like water, smoked nonstop, ate erratically. After divorcing Frida Hood, his mind unraveled. The risky moves he prided himself on became a trap. But money pressure, fierce competition from young artists, and an obsession to stay iconic pushed him to perform. As Lonely Teardrops played, Jackie gave his last strength. But at the line, "My heart is crying," he collapsed like he'd been shot, his head slamming the floor, echoing through the room. Lights still blazed, music ran, but Jackie lay still. No one believed their eyes. Rushed to the hospital, he was in a deep coma. Doctors confirmed a severe stroke. News spread fast. Jet, the Philadelphia Inquirer, slammed his reckless lifestyle. No labels mentioned him, no stages booked him. Jackie lived as a vegetable for 9 years. Family fought over assets. Friends drifted. The public forgot. By his last breath in 1984, many no longer recalled the Mr. Excitement who got America on its feet. A legend fell, literally, in one moment, never to rise, though those close knew it came from years of no control. 17. Etta James, legendary voice, falls to addiction, arrested on the street like a criminal. Etta James was a name that silenced every stage. The soul of R&B, she made At Last an undying love song and Tell Mama an emotional punch in the 60s. Her fierce, raw, fiery voice, she was seen as irreplaceable. But behind that passion was a life sunk in darkness, where drugs, violence, and loneliness tore apart all she had. In 1974, at 36, Etta James was no longer the rebel diva, just a worn-out woman hiding in an old car, glued to heroin. When Los Angeles police swooped in, they didn't just find drugs. They saw a once glorious era rotting away. Heroin, marijuana, syringes, all jumbled in the back seat. They cuffed her on the spot amid shouts and flashing lights. For the press, this was unhideable shock. Rolling Stone, Ebony blared, "R&B queen falls in the heart of L.A." The court ruled fast. No escape. Etta was sent straight to Tarzana Treatment Center, where addicts face reality with no choice. No drugs, no booze, no one by her side. Early days, she writhed like a tortured soul, locked in, cut off completely. Body shaking, skin pale, the eyes that once burned stages, now empty. Chess Records ended her contract instantly. Shows canceled in droves. Those who flocked to her vanished. Etta James, who moved a nation, was now untouchable. After that arrest, no big hits came. Major stages turned away. The industry saw her as too risky. She lived quietly, broke, pushed out of the spotlight. That was the painful fall from a legend's dazzling peak to a darkness no one cared to see. 16. David Ruffin, iconic My Girl voice pushed to the abyss by drugs and arrogance. David Ruffin, the legendary lead of The Temptations, creator of timeless hits like My Girl and Ain't Too Proud to Beg, was a shining R&B star. From a poor Mississippi start, facing violence and racism, he climbed to the top with talent and a unique voice, but luxury, addiction, and pride slowly erased it all. Success became a double-edged sword for Ruffin. By the mid-60s, he dove into cocaine to escape. Money flowed like water, thousands a month poured into endless Detroit and LA parties, demanding solo limos, skipping shows, clashing with Motown and bandmates, all sparked unfixable riffs. Family ties broke, wife Nellie left behind as his image grew sloppy. The public turned, but David kept spiraling. June 1968 was a horrific turn. In Detroit, police checked his car near a nightclub, finding cocaine and marijuana in his bag. Arrested, held for hours, David faced drug possession charges. Right then, the Temptations fired him after he ditched a Cleveland show and demanded to lead the group. It didn't stop there. Jet, the Detroit Free Press, blared. David Ruffin leaves Temptations, tied to cocaine, career shaky. His messy life laid bare. Motown grew fed up, cutting solo support. Fans were torn, split between love and letdown. The public shunned him, slamming unchecked addiction. The industry closed doors, contracts canceled, shows gone. David Ruffin sank into darkness. His solo path never peaked again, career snuffed out, fading in memory. His story's a steep lesson on painful falls when talent trips on temptation and self-destruction. 15. Frankie Lyman, R&B prodigy ruined by drugs and jail scandals. Frankie Lyman, the child prodigy of R&B, led the teenagers with the chart-topping Why Do Fools Fall in Love, rocking America at just 13. Raised in Harlem's poverty, he was a teen icon and dream for countless kids. But that shine quickly dimmed by a life of ups, downs, scandal, and addiction. Starting at 15, as his career bloomed, Frankie fell into heroin's dark grip. Pressure from G Records, racism, and managers milking him dry drove him to drugs as an escape. By the 60s, the teenagers split, His solo run barely made waves with forgettable hits. Earnings fueled fixes, hundreds of dollars a week on heroin, a chaotic life taking shape. Frankie roamed all-night parties, fought with wife Elizabeth Waters, missed key shows and recordings. Even family, once his rock, couldn't dodge his theft, and he leaned harder on bad friends, sinking deeper. In 1966, in drug-riddled Harlem, 24-year-old Frankie Lyman was nabbed in a police raid. Heroin, marijuana, and needles stuffed in his pants, he was drunk, totally out of control on the street. Held for days, facing serious charges, family bailed him out. A big warning for a prodigy. The press blew up the scandal, headlines screaming, "Teen star Frankie Lyman caught in drugs, career at risk." Outrage spread, fans reeled, many turned away. Labels cut ties, shows dropped fast, the industry saw him as a burden, no one would work with him. Frankie Lyman crashed from fame's peak, relying on family, a ghost singing in small clubs by the end. Talent buried by self-destruction, the cost of early fame and harsh temptations. His life closed in 1968, leaving a tragic tale, a warning for those on that dark path. 14. Sly Stone. Funk genius. Free falls from drugs, guns, and scandals that wrecked his career. Sly Stone, born Sylvester Stewart, was a funk legend, a musician and producer behind world-shaking hits like Dance to the Music and Everyday People. He laid funk's foundation, his influence timeless. But offstage, Sly Stone's life spiraled out of control, drowning in drugs, fights, and chaos. In the early 70s, at fame's peak, Sly faced not just Woodstock's massive pressure, but a fracturing band. A lavish life of parties, drugs, and violence left him unhinged. Living in a mansion packed with guns, guards, and cocaine, Sly burned cash like water, thousands a week on toxic stuff. Shows started late, got skipped, or flopped, fans booing, patience gone. The breaking point came in December 1974 when LA police raided Sly's car, finding cocaine and an unregistered gun. The cost of his wild life, days in custody, charges for drugs and weapons. The story hit fast. Rolling Stone, Los Angeles Times rushed out. Sly Stone crashes in drugs, exposing the dark behind the lights. Sly and the family Stone's career nosedived. The band broke up amid fans' curses and dismay. Epic Records and promoters turned away, cut all ties. Sly Stone was left in ruins. No new hits, no comeback, drifting, broke, never regaining past glory. 13. Bobby Womack, Life Freefalls. After shocking wedding to Sam Cooke's widow, Bobby Womack, the R&B soul voice famed for Lookin' for a Love, was a bright star with the Womack brothers, lifted by music legend Sam Cooke. But his promising career crashed hard after one shocking choice, turning the music world and community against him. In 1964, Sam Cooke died tragically. Grieving and lost, 21-year-old Bobby Womack slid into chaos. Just 3 months after his friend's death, he stunned all by marrying Barbara Cooke, Sam's widow, while the community still mourned. It wasn't just an emotional shock. It was a bombshell in the black world, where respect and honor reigned. The press dug in. Jet Ebony called Womack's move a cruel betrayal. Fueling talk, he used friendship and Barbara's pain to climb up. Anger didn't stop at print. Sam Cooke fans threw things at Womack on stage. The R&B community, once fond, shunned him harshly. His marriage to Barbara wasn't smooth, sparking domestic violence claims and rising cocaine use, tanking his career fast. Recording deals vanished, shows turned disastrous, his name faded. It was a fatal blow. Bobby Womack couldn't recover. Sam Cooke's shadow loomed large, plus affairs with his stepdaughter and self-destructive habits pushed him down. The 60s and 70s passed with no real hits. Fame dimmed, his career a sandcastle swept away by waves, never to return. From talent's peak to pain's pit, Bobby Womack never dreamed one wedding could ruin it all. 12. Wilson Pickett, R&B legend's chaotic life of violence and drug scandals. Wilson Pickett, Wicked Pickett, was unmissable in R&B history with classics like In the Midnight Hour and Mustang Sally. He was a black music icon, breaking racism's barriers to win millions of fans. But he tore it all down with a string of scandals. By the 70s, Wilson Pickett sank deep into booze and cocaine, caught in endless parties from Detroit to New York. Pressure from disco and funk's rise threw him off. Divorcing Bonnie, clashing with managers, his mood grew unstable, actions violent. Bar fights, public chaos became routine, fame sliding fast. October 15, 1987, brought the peak of tragedy. At a bar in Englewood, New Jersey, a plastered picket attacked a man with a beer bottle, causing serious injury. Cops arrived, found cocaine in his pocket, arrested him for assault and drug possession. News spread quick. The New York Times, jet-blasted, R&B star attacks tied to drugs. The image of a legend turned troublemaker stunned the public. Labels like Atlantic Records, promoters saw him as a risk, cut ties. Loyal fans felt let down. Many walked away. Wilson Pickett got stamped a broken icon, living in scandal's shadow. From the top, his career crashed. No new hits, just small gigs and a quiet, sad life. He passed in 2006, leaving a tearful tale of self-destruction amid lost glory. 11. Donny Hathaway. Bright star collapses in mental darkness. Donny Hathaway, the stellar R&B and soul voice who captivated with A Song for You and duets with Roberta Flack like Where Is the Love, was a peak music icon. From a religious St. Louis family, he left a deep mark in the late 60s, early 70s, but beneath the glow was a brutal battle with mental illness and addiction. Donny's life wasn't simple. By the late 60s, bipolar disorder tormented him. Voices, delusions of the CIA, and white people trailing him became daily ghosts. To cope, he turned to booze and barbiturates, deadly sedatives. Hundreds of dollars a week fled in that escape. Atco Records pressed hard, tours never stopped, while family pressure with a wife and 2 kids weighed heavy. Control slipped as he ditched recordings, fought managers, performed unevenly, fame fraying. Summer 1973 in Chicago, during Extensions of a Man recording, Donny's paranoia peaked. He yelled about spies in the studio, smashed gear within reach. The chaos forced family and colleagues to check him into a mental hospital. There, bipolar was confirmed. Donny held for weeks. News flew, Ebony, the Chicago Tribune splashed it on front pages. Donny Hathaway loses control, fears for R&B star. The public reeled as their idol sank into a mental pit with substance abuse. Shows canceled, deals stalled, labels backed off. Fans were shocked, prayed for him, but the industry coldly turned away. Donny's past shine vanished fast. After 1973's album, No Breakthroughs came. He faded from the spotlight, lost in mental darkness, never reaching the top again until his death in 1979. 10. Arthur Conley, R&B star flees America amid addiction and chaos. Arthur Conley, the bold voice of sweet soul music, mentored by Otis Redding, was a bright R&B hope. But that light shattered fast by addiction to booze, cocaine, and weed, plus an unchecked party life. In 1970, at just 24, Conley vanished from America, moving to the Netherlands, changing his name to Lee Roberts to dodge a dark past. Before that, he'd slurred through stage shows, clashed with Atco, and got slammed by press as an unsavable addict. Otis Redding's death hit him hard, sparking chaotic days, fights, and ruin. Fans once crazy for him turned disappointed. The music industry coldly cut ties. From a rising star, Conley faded into darkness, living hidden until his death in 2003, leaving an unfinished career and a sad story of self-destruction and a vague escape. 9. Rick James. Funk King falls to crime and prison abyss. Rick James, the name that ignited funk with Super Freak, lived in a lavish mansion, swimming in parties, drugs, and women. From the mid-'80s, he drowned in a fierce cocaine habit, spending cash like water, losing grip on life and career. July 1991 sparked a horror story. Rick James and his girlfriend kidnapped a young woman, held her 6 days at home, beat her, forced cocaine and abuse. Then the next year, he assaulted a music manager, a mess too big to hide. On August 2, 1993, an LA court sentenced Rick James to over 5 years for kidnapping, assault, and drug charges. Press pounced, outrage flared. Fans turned away, the industry froze deals, radio banned his tunes. From glory's peak, Rick plunged to a pit of crime and despair. Out in 1996, his life was a dim shadow, ending in 2004 from lung and heart failure, leaving a tragic mark of a fallen legend. 8. Clyde McPhatter, R&B voice sinks deep in booze and tragedy. Clyde McPhatter, founder of the Drifters with Money Honey and solo hit A Lover's Question, was a bright R&B star. From North Carolina, he won fans with a standout tenor, but faced racism and exploitation by big labels. In 1968, it all broke when McPhatter, drunk on a New York stage, yelled curses at the crowd and got kicked out of the show. Clashes with Mercury flared, he refused recordings and lost his deal. Press exposed his heavy drinking, whiskey day after day, swallowing his life. Health crashed, liver failed, landing him in the hospital, mind in chaos. Fans turned, the industry ditched him, career slid fast. New stars took over, he sank in loneliness and despair. Clyde McPhatter's life ended too soon, in 1972 at 39, carrying the tragedy of an R&B star who lost himself. 7. Dee Harvey, R&B talent mired in drugs and scandal. Dee Harvey, a backup for Patti LaBelle with strong solo hits in the 80s, came from Chicago, once seen as a promising R&B voice. But his career slid long in addiction and a messy life. In 1987, Harvey was nabbed in a random Southside Chicago check. Cops found cocaine and an open liquor bottle in his car. Worse, he argued, yelled at police, making it uglier. Local press and jet tore into his wild parties, cocaine, and booze habit. A career shaky from young stars, weak management, and personal chaos nearly collapsed. Labels cut ties, promoters dropped him, fans boycotted. Dee Harvey vanished from stages, lived in shadow for years before dying in 2012, leaving a sad tale of talent wasted in a self-destructive spiral. 6. Chuck Woolery, R&B singer crashes from drunken speed wreck. Chuck Woolery, lead of Avant-Garde, famed for Naturally Stoned, rocked the 60s. From Kentucky, he was an R&B hope, but had crumbled fast from a self-destructive life. In 1968, after an all-night LA party, a drunk Woolery drove his Mustang at a crazy 80+ miles per hour in a busy neighborhood. He lost control, slammed a pole, badly hurt his leg and head. Cops arrived, tested blood, found alcohol way over the limit. The crash became a nightmare. Press blasted his boozing, reckless speeding. Labels cut him loose, leaving Woolery in his career's rubble. Fans gave up, shows faded. He quit music, turned to TV, never back to the singing stage. A promising music dream drowned in booze and a horrific wreck. R. Kelly, R&B king trapped by extortion and abuse crimes. R. Kelly, the R&B king with the mega hit I Believe I Can Fly, was a dazzling star. From Chicago, he hit the top, but behind the glow hid a dark side of crime, abuse, and control over young girls in his system. On September 29, 2021, the world reeled as R. Kelly was convicted after 6 weeks in Brooklyn court. Victims exposed horrors, abuse, kidnapping, forced labor, and extortion over decades. Videos, recordings, witnesses, undeniable proof. A star who moved millions became society's outcast. Press condemned him, radio erased his music, labels dropped him. The surviving R. Kelly doc fueled public fury. R. Kelly lost his career and got 30 years in prison, an unfixable fall. From peak to pit, his legacy's now just crimes dug up endlessly. 4. K.C. Haley. Voice silenced, addiction drags R&B career to the abyss. K.C. Haley, lead of Jodeci and duo Casey and JoJo, with the hit All My Life, ruled R&B. But parties, booze, and cocaine pulled him from the top to the depths. On May 8, 2000, at the House of Blues in L.A., Casey took the stage, eyes cloudy, drunk, out of control. On Jodeci's tour, he sang off-key, off-beat, then collapsed before 1,500 stunned fans. Not an accident, but years of unchecked addiction. Success pressure, band fights, constant clashes pushed him to the edge. Press pounced. The night's video spread like wildfire, crashing his image and fame. Fans lost hope. The industry cut deals, canceled shows. Kate's eye faded from the spotlight. No new hits after that fall. 3. D'Angelo. R&B talent collapses from drugs and crashes. D'Angelo, the R&B star who wowed with Brown Sugar and Untitled, How Does It Feel, was dubbed music's sex symbol. From Virginia, he made his mark fast, but dove into addiction and personal chaos. On March 6, 2005, in Richmond, Virginia, D'Angelo hit his darkest night. Driving wobbly, he crashed into a fence. Police nabbed him. Cocaine and weed in the car. Drunk, he fought as they cuffed him. Not his first. A 2002 wreck hurt him bad, but instead of waking up, he sank deeper. The world saw a star crumbling under image pressure and EMI's wild expectations. Press ran harsh headlines, fans turned, labels cut him, shows dropped fast. 2 decades on, D'Angelo vanished from stages. No new hits, a great talent, just a painful R&B memory. Second, Cisco, R&B star mired in violence and addiction. Career freefalls. Cisco, the hotshot with Thong Song rocking the world, and Dru Hill ruled R&B. From Baltimore, he shot up, then dove into booze, drugs, and endless parties. December 14, 2000, an unforgettable night for Cisco. At 22, in a Baltimore club, drunk and wild, he beat a man over a money spat, punching hard. Cops rushed in, arrested him on the spot. Those jail hours marked a career slide, exposing a star, wrecking himself. Press pounced. MTV, the Baltimore Sun screamed, "Cisco violent, R&B star plunges." It sparked deals cut, shows canceled, fans turning away, cold. Fame pressure, band fights, wild nights turned Cisco to a faint shadow. No new hits, no glow, his career sank to oblivion. 1. Jaheim, R&B star reels from animal cruelty scandal. Career shattered. Jaheim, the bold voice with "Put That Woman First," conquered R&B in the early 2000s. From poor New Jersey, he was a classic hope, but pressure, label fights, and addiction rumors dragged him down. On September 9, 2021, police stormed Jaheim's Hillsborough home. The cause? Animal cruelty claims. They found 15 dogs starved, filthy, in grim conditions, 6 caged tight, 1 hurt bad, euthanized. The horror shocked TMZ. The New York Post exploded. Jaheim nabbed for dog cruelty, unthinkable scene. Photos spread, sparking forum fury. Fans crashed in dismay. The industry axed his name. Shows vanished. He hit rock bottom, cash gone, fame wrecked. The result? A career with nothing left, a star lost in darkness, facing serious legal woes. See, just one wrong moment can trade away a golden R&B career. These stories are a stark wake-up, a reminder no one stays on top without self-control. If this video shifted how you see them, drop your thoughts in the comments below. And subscribe to catch more truths I'll uncover about the celebrity world.